Welcome to the third and final part of my project, where I raise Argiope spiders from eggs to adulthood. As you may remember from the previous videos, I had 4 sub-adult spiders. 2 of them molted into adult females. 1 turned out to be a male, which I identified by his pedipalps, while the 4th stopped building a web after its penultimate molt and remained in the same spot for a week. Something may have gone wrong during the molt. Whatever happened, the spider was no longer behaving normally, so I decided to release it into the garden. Before molting, the spider stops hunting and spends several days almost completely inactive, waiting for a new exoskeleton to fully develop beneath the old one. I decided to destroy its web to see how it would respond. The spider rebuilt it, but this wasn't a normal orb web for catching prey. Instead, it constructed a simplified molting web without the usual symmetry or sticky capture spiral. To film the molt, I had to wait 7 days while spider was inactive. I was lucky. If I had woken up just 1 hour later, I would have missed the entire process. The actual molt is a complex mechanical process. The spider uses internal pressure and movements of its body and legs to break open the old exoskeleton. Hanging upside down in its web, it can also make use of gravity. As the old exoskeleton splits open, the spider gradually pulls itself free, essentially falling out of its old body head first. The spider is extremely vulnerable during the molt. Disturbing it at this stage can interfere with the process, leaving parts of the old exoskeleton attached to the new one. A failed molt can result in trapped or deformed legs and, in severe cases, can be fatal. After freeing itself, the spider repeatedly flexes and extends its legs, sometimes curling them tightly against its body before stretching them out again. These movements help the new exoskeleton expand and the joints regain their flexibility as it hardens. The full uncut recording of the molt is available on my Telegram channel. The link is in the description. Immediately after molting, the female is largely immobile and unable to attack the male effectively. Males of Argiope can take advantage of this brief window, avoiding much of the risk of sexual cannibalism. Since I already had a male, I decided to introduce him to the female. Studies have shown that mating between siblings can reduce egg hatching success compared with mating between unrelated spiders. However, I had no other male available, so I decided to go ahead with it anyway. Before mating, the male becomes extremely active. He moves rapidly around the female, plucking and vibrating the silk with his legs, and repeatedly drumming his front legs against her body. It is a part of the male's courtship display, producing vibrations that the female can detect through the web and her body. In related Argiope species, these vibrations have been shown to delay the female's predatory response, helping the male avoid being mistaken for prey. Mating in Argiope bruennichi follows the same basic mechanism seen in other orb-weaving spiders. The male uses his 2 pedipalps to transfer sperm into the female's epigyne, the external genital structure on the underside of her abdomen. The sperm is transferred through the genital opening into a copulatory duct, leading to a spermatheca, where it can be stored. Wait, how did he dodge that? Did he just score? Spider sex is scary. Before mating, the male first builds a small sperm web and deposits a drop of sperm onto it. He then uses his pedipalps to draw the sperm into their internal structures, effectively loading them for mating. The full courtship video will be available on my Telegram channel. I moved the adult female into a larger enclosure to accommodate her larger web. Now let's try feeding her. When the spider catches prey, it can wrap it in a dense layer of silk, almost like a wide strip of packing tape. This silk is produced specifically for immobilizing prey and is different from the sticky capture spiral of the web. I noticed that the spider didn't treat every insect in the same way. When I offered it a bee or a fly, it quickly wrapped the prey, bit it, and then moved away. Instead of immediately carrying it back, the spider waited for several minutes, presumably allowing the venom to immobilize the prey before returning to collect it. With a cockroach, the sequence was different. The spider wrapped it and immediately carried it back to the center of the web. And when I offered a butterfly, the difference was even more obvious. The spider grabbed it with its chelicerae and injected venom without wrapping it first. Only afterwards did it begin to wrap the prey. This made me wonder whether the spider is actually assessing its prey and changing its strategy depending on the type of insect. Spiders can extract a surprising amount of information from vibrations traveling through their webs, including the location and mechanical properties of a trapped object. However, I can't say that vibrations were definitely responsible for the different responses I observed. Experiments on Argiope argentata suggest that prey-type discrimination can also depend on physical properties such as surface texture. In that species, the unusual initial bite response to butterflies and moths was not explained by vibration, weight, size, or shape alone.
The web's construction affects what kind of prey it can retain.
Compared with some other orb weavers, Argiope webs contain fewer sticky threads, but those threads carry a relatively large amount of adhesive, making them effective at retaining larger insects. And the spider's bright yellow and black coloration may actually play a role in hunting. In one experiment, naturally colored Argiope caught more than twice as much prey as spiders whose coloration had been obscured. The results support the idea that the bright abdominal pattern can act as a visual lure for insects. For a long time, the northward expansion of Argiope bruennichi was mainly explained by climate warming. But more recent research has shown that the story is more complicated. The spider has been adapting genetically to its new environment, and apparently much faster than we might expect. Genetic studies found that the northern European populations have a hybrid origin. As the European and Asian lineages came into contact, Asian genetic variants became incorporated into European populations. Some of these variants are associated with increased tolerance to cold temperatures, providing the genetic material that helps the spiders colonize northern climates. A 2026 study found that northern populations have diverged from southern populations in both genetics and life history traits. The northern spiders mature faster and reach a smaller adult size, while their offspring show physiological traits associated with improved survival in colder winters. As Argiope bruennichi continues to expand northwards, reaching regions where people have rarely encountered it before, its striking appearance can cause quite a reaction. To someone unfamiliar with the species, a large, brightly colored spider with a yellow and black abdomen can certainly look intimidating, and the media often make this reaction even stronger. Headlines describe Argiope as a frightening southern creature, warn of an invasion of venomous wasp spiders, or suggest that a bite could lead to anaphylactic shock or even death. Like any other orb-weaving spiders, Argiope bruennichi is not an aggressive species and will generally try to escape rather than confront a human. Its venom is primarily adapted for subduing insect prey and is not considered medically significant to humans. However, as with a bee or wasp sting, a bite can, in rare cases, trigger a serious allergic reaction. Here, let me show you just how non-aggressive this spider really is. Let me just grab it. As you can see, I'm holding it in my closed fist and restricting its movement for quite some time, and it's still not trying to bite me. If this were a wasp or a bee, I'd be pretty confident I'd get stung. But aggression isn't really the right word here. Spiders have a nervous system capable of processing sensory information, but they don't have the kind of cognitive system that would allow them to understand a human as a large animal deliberately interacting with them. To the spider, I'm essentially just a very strange and very large part of its environment. It has no reason to attack something like me unless I actually threaten or physically injure it. And if you really want to get bitten by an Argiope, one of the most reliable ways is probably to sit on it. This project started with an Argiope egg sac, and now, after following these spiders from spiderlings all the way to adulthood, we've come full circle. My female has produced an egg sac of her own. Inside it are hundreds of eggs, each containing the next generation. The spiderlings will hatch later this year. They will remain in a dormant state through the cold season, waiting for spring to arrive. So, I think it's fair to call this project a success. I started with an egg sac and ended up with another one, completing the cycle and producing the next generation.